Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. And yes, my name is Josh Lilquist. In the last segment, we covered a few different topics about being a weatherman. That was in the second segment, and how to forecast certain opportunities in the markets. But then you also have to understand where to buy and also where to sell. And it comes down to having a strategy, as we talked about in the last segment, which is our core strategy, which is designed to do just that. Where to get in your positions, where to get out of them. But the key to the market is actually not making money. It's actually managing your risk. Exactly. And then having those odds, as Al's been talking about, and the probabilities in your favor. If you did miss seats to that investing class where we go through these techniques and concepts, here at the Academy, it's a live local place to go to learn about the financial markets. Simply text the word investing to the number 210 right now for 2 seats. When you text that in right now, make sure to pick up your jumbo pack is what we're giving away here today. There's techniques on how the market works in there, but also there's some stock picks in there just so you can see and visually understand what supply and demand, what we've been alluding to all day here today, actually looks like. Text investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. We do a session almost every single day on the podcast. Investing and Trading Live, right? We're on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. So, Al, in this last segment, we still got a lot to cover here. These shows go by too fast. It feels like it takes days to do it because we got so much to cover here for everybody. But we only have 1 hour for you guys here today. So let's pack some more in here in about another 10 minutes here. So, to have consistency in the financial markets, it doesn't just start with hoping things work out and just kind of testing different things and guessing and hope, and then they go back and say, hey, how did it work? It's actually planning ahead. It's having a trading and investment plan. Now, on this segment here, I'd like you to discuss a little bit and talk a little bit about how to get that plan started, some of the components to have in there. That way our listeners can understand, okay, yeah, you can understand how to do that. It's not just a guess. It's the skill that you got to build, but putting the odds and probabilities starts with the plan.
Yeah, and the plan shouldn't just be a sheet of paper that has a number of things you fill in that's the same for everybody. The plan should be unique to you. It should be specific to you, to your goals, your personality. There's certain things that are consistent. You mentioned the word consistency. That is huge. One of the mistakes people make is that they go into trading and investing just looking for the home runs, the big hits.
Hey, well, that's what the internet says. It's a get-rich-quick thing.
Yeah, and the problem is that you may have one of those big hits, but what also goes along with that is the big losses.
Yeah, you're right, and that's what the good thing is those are possible. You get 1 or 2 of those a year, that's a great thing, but you have to have proper capital management the rest of the year as well.
Right, and proper capital management, the big part of that is risk management. Making money in the markets, that's simply the reward of proper risk management.
Mm-hmm.
And
sounds like you heard that today.
I did. We have a class going on today, and the instructor that I took those words right from his mouth. But that's true. We talk about risk management all the time. That is the key component. The number one thing you have to learn is how not to lose big.
Yeah.
The making money part, that will come, but you have to first not lose.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about consistency, let's look at a football team. Let's just say that the first game of the year, you blow out your opponent 60-0.
Okay.
And the rest of the year, you lose every game.
Well, we'll find that out this week. The Dallas Cowboys won 40-0 against the Giants last week. Let's see what happens here this week.
Embarrassing. But would you rather do that? Would you rather have one big blowout game and then lose the rest, or would you rather maybe win each game by 7 points or 3 points?
Well, let me contradict you a little bit, though. You look at the Minnesota Vikings last year, actually had a great season, went to the playoffs, and didn't do well in the playoffs, but had a great regular season. I believe they were 12-5 or something like that. But they didn't I don't think they outscored their opponent. I believe the overall score for the whole year was actually in the negative because they didn't have the right capital management. That would be the same example in the financial markets, having big wins and small losses.
Yeah, the point though is that the way to be successful is to have a strategy you use that gives you to the point where you're consistent in what you're doing. If you do that, if you develop that consistency, which is the most important thing, then this becomes a scalable thing. So if you're consistent, by that I mean, let's say every week you start out and you make $100 a week.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing that every week, you're doing something right. You're consistent in what you're doing, so then you scale it up. Instead of doing 5 shares, maybe you do 10 shares, or 1 contract, you do 2 contracts. But consistency is important, but part of that plan, that risk management is a huge part of the plan. The plan should also have you prepared for different market conditions, because the markets change, and we've seen this over the last couple of years. What worked years ago with that 60-40 split, bond split, that had one of the worst performances ever in the year 2022, and people basically just went along with it because that's what their broker told them to do. This is not only is this the right way to do it, you're diversified, but you're not going to be concerned about drawdowns or bad years because you're going to have good years down the road.
Yep. Yeah.
The problem there is that if you have a bad year, you have to have a great year to just counter what you just lost, just to get to be even.
Yep.
And we're seeing people coming into these classes, Josh, and they're even saying, look, I felt betrayed by my advisor because they told me that I was going to be protected. They were going to protect me. How do they do that? Well, they have you diversified, but it's in the same asset class. It's all equities. And all of those things, the equities become very highly correlated in a down market. So even the good companies get sucked down with the bad ones. So part of that plan should be a proper asset allocation that has you in things that are not all correlated.
Yeah, and we've done so many shows here together. We're actually on 846 on the podcast. That's been since we've been recording that. We have several, probably several hundred before that. And there's never been an episode where I've apologized to you, and I think I'm going to do that today. I need to apologize because you get me talking about sports and football. I will go off, and we will. This could be a whole show on football. So I do apologize and getting you off your game here a little bit. But one of the cool things about that, I mean, we got thousands and thousands of listeners on the podcast, and Paul Allen or Ben Leber, our Vikings guys. If you're listening right now, I would like to have you as a guest on the show, Paul Allen or Ben Leber.
That'd be great.
And then we can talk about the relationship between sports plans and trading and investing plans. So if you're listening, Paul or Ben, definitely hit me up and we'll get you on a show. That being said, we have people that want to learn about a plan, how to build a plan in trading and investing. You have something to add to that?
Yeah, just using football as an analogy, a team cannot win and not be consistent if they don't play both offense and defense. You're
bringing me back, Al. I'm probably going to keep going off on that.
Let me get some duct tape and shut that mouth for a minute.
I know.
So the point I want to make is that as a trader investor, you have to do both. You have to play defense, number one, and then you play offense. The offense part, that's the easy part in trading and investing. And again, the risk management part, that is so crucial, so critical that that's the first thing that we teach our students.
Yeah, to come into one of these classes, just text investing to the number 210. But you're bringing up some other good points here. Since we're talking about sports, athletes have mentors, have people that guide them through.
Coaches.
I'm a big Colorado Buffs fan. You got Deion Sander doing a phenomenal job over at CU, bringing a team together that didn't play so well, 1-11 last year, and starting off the year 2-0, and looking pretty good for the remainder of the year, and just doing a great thing. Mentoring them young kids to positive thinking, positive play on the field. You need that same thing in the financial markets. In about 1 minute, just talk about our instructors and how they're able to mentor people.
Well, it is like a Deion Sanders. Our instructors are people that live this market. A lot of them worked on the floor of maybe the Chicago Board of Options, trading options professionally, or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, trading futures. Maybe ran hedge funds, still may be doing that. These are guys that basically are involved in a way where they have seen what moves the market. They know what does that because they probably traded with enough clout to be able to do that. So they're the guys that actually developed our strategy, but they're teaching you. And the easy way to learn something is just to learn from somebody who is already, they know what the mistakes are, they can help you not make the mistakes, and they know what works. Let's concentrate on that and get you to learn some habits that kind of eliminate the mistakes and the downside.
Yeah, I was watching the interview from Primetime, and he was mentioning he's trying to help these young kids do multiple things, not just on the field, but he actually mentioned that he wants to teach them financial literacy as well. I sent a note to old Primetime. I hope he's listening to the podcast, but we'd definitely like to help them kids out. Hit me up, Deion. We like to help them out. So that being said, it's important to have people to guide you through those times and helping people if they'd have never done it before, because most people don't understand how this works, and that's what we do at Online Trading Academy. And every single week, Al, we have these classes, and people are coming in, and by the way, to come in, just text investing to the number 210 to one of our classes. But we did an OTA tip of the week a couple weeks ago, and I was having a conversation with a nice young gal here the other day, and she was talking about how she liked that OTA tip of the week, and it was about surrounding yourself with the right people, and that'll help you. I mean, they say you want to be, you are your 5 closest friends, and that was very impactful in her life. And you have another OTA tip of the week here today, and I want you to try to inspire more people to get into this world.
Yeah, and it's somewhat similar to that one before. People say that wisdom comes from learning from your mistakes, but true wisdom is achieved when you learn from the mistakes of others. Any mistake you can make has already been made by someone before. If you try to achieve wisdom through experience, it's sort of like taking an exam before you've taken the class or read a book. That's not the smart way to do it, not the best way to do it. Learning the wrong lessons, by the way, doesn't constitute wisdom either. One of the most valuable components of OTA's education is access to the people that can help eliminate going through the mistake process and help you from their experience and their expertise.
I like that. It's an OTA tip of the week. It sounds like more words of wisdom here today. Come into one of these investing classes, check it out, and see if it's for you. Text investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.